The Johnson family mansion, standing in Philadelphia's upscale neighborhood, was the envy of neighbors with its majestic appearance and perfectly maintained gardens. This evening, the soft twilight light cast orange shadows on the white columns. "The soup will get cold." "Ashley is always late," Barbara Johnson said with undisguised irritation in the dining room. She maintained her dignity as a socialite, with her perfectly styled hair and expensive pearl necklace emphasizing her elegance. Robert, seated at the head of the table, nodded in agreement with his wife's words without looking up from his newspaper. "Mom, Ashley said she had an interview with a designer today," Olivia Johnson said in a gentle voice. Perhaps out of sisterly consideration, she always had excuses ready for her sister. Olivia had established her own successful business as a highly regarded event planner in the area. Her planning skills and attention to detail were well known in the industry, with a particular reputation for wedding productions. "Oh, was that today? But why doesn't she tell me these things in advance?" Barbara said with slight dissatisfaction, but her expression quickly softened. "Well, never mind. Olivia, how are the wedding preparations with Michael coming along?" Olivia smiled warmly. "They're going well. Next week I have a final meeting with the florist, and then we've scheduled a cake tasting too." "Wonderful. You're truly fortunate to have found a man like Michael," Barbara said with obvious satisfaction in her voice. "A successful lawyer, from a good family, and handsome too. He's quite the talk of our social circle." Robert finally looked up from his newspaper and joined the conversation. "The Williams family has a good reputation in the real estate industry. I've met Michael's father several times through business, and he's an honest man. It seems his son has been raised well." Olivia continued smiling as she picked up her wine glass. She and Michael Williams had met 3 years ago at a charity party where she was managing the event. Michael was a partner at a major law firm, and Olivia had been drawn to his charming smile and intellectual conversation. Since their engagement announcement a year ago, her parents had been delighted, especially Barbara, who took pride in her daughter making a suitable marriage. The sound of the front door opening and Ashley's high heels echoing in the hallway caught their attention. "Sorry. The traffic was terrible." Ashley entered the dining room, swinging her flashy blonde hair. She was dressed in a glamorous dress, wearing several pieces of jewelry more ostentatious than her mother's. "Ashley, you're quite late," Barbara said in a mildly scolding tone, but quickly stood up to kiss her daughter's cheek. "What dress did you decide on?" "Not yet. I might find something better, so I'm going back next week," Ashley said, casting a glance at Olivia's engagement ring. "It's my sister's wedding, after all. I need to look perfect." She sat down at the table and kissed her father's cheek. Robert happily stroked his daughter's head. "She's our little princess. When I see that smile, I can forgive her for being late." Olivia smiled quietly and began serving the salad. Since childhood, Ashley had been special in the family. Her parents had spoiled her excessively, excusing her problematic behavior as, just Ashley being Ashley. Even after dropping out of college twice and hopping between several jobs, her parents continued to say, "She's just finding her path." "Olivia, I saw Michael today," Ashley suddenly announced. "By chance, at a downtown cafe. He's really a wonderful man, truly." "Well, that's nice," Olivia replied, maintaining her composure. In fact, this wasn't the first time. Recently, Ashley had been coincidentally meeting Michael more frequently. At family gatherings, she always sat next to him, seeking private conversations. "He said he's planning a special surprise for you," Ashley said with a meaningful smile, winking at her parents. "And I'm so good at keeping secrets." Barbara lightly touched her daughter's arm. "Oh, how lovely. Michael really treasures Olivia." "He's just being polite," Olivia said calmly. "And he's a busy person, so coincidental meetings shouldn't happen that often." "Oh, are you suspicious of me?" Ashley said jokingly, but her eyes weren't smiling. "Michael seems to enjoy talking with me. We have many common interests." "I'm not suspicious at all," Olivia said. "I was just commenting on his busy schedule." Robert cleared his throat and changed the subject. "Olivia, don't worry about the wedding budget. It's a special day for you. Just tell us whatever you need. Olivia gave her father a grateful smile. Although she had built her business from scratch and was financially independent, her parents were planning her wedding as a major social event. As dinner progressed, Ashley dominated the wedding conversation, endlessly discussing her role as bridesmaid. Olivia listened quietly, feeling a small anxiety deep inside. Lately, Michael seemed to have changed a bit. He had been coming home later and taking business calls in separate rooms. Olivia, there's no need to worry so much. Everyone gets nervous before marriage, Barbara said, as if reading her daughter's expression. Michael loves you. That's certain. Olivia nodded. Her mother was probably right. She was a perfectionist, perhaps worrying more than necessary. With the wedding just a month away, she decided to focus on ensuring everything went according to plan, paying attention to every detail. My goodness, this is gorgeous. Barbara gasped at the wedding planner's office, entranced by the layout plans and flower samples spread across the table. Olivia smiled, satisfied to see her vision taking shape. The reception at the historic ballroom adjacent to the Philadelphia Museum of Art would be perfect for a high society gathering. Olivia handled everything from securing the venue to decorations, Rachel, her assistant, explained. She's a professional. As expected, Barbara looked proudly at her daughter, but quickly checked her watch. I wonder where Ashley is. She has a final fitting for her bridesmaid dress today. She messaged that she'd be late, Olivia said. She said she had something to do. Just then, the office door swung open forcefully, and Ashley entered. Her face was flushed with excitement. Sorry I'm late. But I have such big news. Barbara quickly stood up and grabbed her daughter's arm. Oh, what happened? Ashley looked around and lowered her voice. Not here, later. Olivia frowned as she observed them. Lately, her mother and sister seemed to be sharing something. They had been talking privately after dinners, and abruptly changing conversations when Olivia entered the room. Do you have some secret? She asked lightly. Just girl talk, Ashley shrugged. Work stuff. You'd probably find it boring. Barbara spoke up, changing the subject. Let's start the dress fitting. We don't have much time. That evening at the Johnson home dinner, Robert poured the finest champagne for his daughters and proposed a toast. Olivia, just a little while until your wedding. I hope it will be a day of pride for our family. Thank you, Dad, Olivia answered, but was distracted by Ashley and Barbara giggling across the table. What's so funny? Oh, just. Barbara exchanged glances with Robert. Ashley has met someone nice. That's all. Well, that's good, Olivia said. Who is it? It's still a secret, Ashley winked. But maybe it's someone you know. The next day, Olivia headed to the printing company for a final check on the wedding invitations. On her way home, she called Michael but reached his voicemail. Call me when you're done with work. I'd like to spend the evening together, she left a message. An emergency case came up at Olivia's company, requiring her to fly to Chicago immediately for a site inspection for a major corporate product launch event. I'll be back tomorrow night, she emailed Michael. His reply was brief and businesslike. Take care. I'm busy with meetings, so I might not be able to call. After finishing her meeting in Chicago, Olivia returned earlier than planned and visited Michael's apartment. She knew he was home, his car was in the parking lot. Using her key to enter, she heard Ashley's high laughter from the living room. Olivia. Michael stood up in surprise. He straightened his collar and ran his fingers through his hair. You're back early. Yes, plans changed, Olivia said quietly. Her eyes lingered on the 2 wine glasses and empty bottle on the coffee table. Ashley, what are you doing here? Just finalizing wedding details, Ashley said casually. I was confirming Michael's role in the wedding party. There are surprises too. I see, Olivia said slowly. A strange tension hung in the room. Michael seemed uneasy, avoiding eye contact. What kind of surprise? It wouldn't be a surprise if I told you, Ashley giggled. I should go now. Dad's waiting for me. She stood up and kissed Olivia's cheek. Don't worry. Everything will be fine. After Ashley left, Michael quickly began explaining. She's just helping with the wedding. Barbara asked her to. Yes, I understand, Olivia said, but anxiety spread in her chest. Michael's shirt collar retained a faint scent of perfume that wasn't hers. 2 weeks before the wedding, Olivia was attending her longtime friend Sarah's anniversary party. While waiting for a drink at the bar counter, a familiar name caught her attention. Williams? Oh, Michael Williams. I saw him last week at the Ritz-Carlton. He was with a young woman. A flashy blonde. It was one of Sarah's husband David's colleagues speaking. Olivia froze. That day, Michael was supposed to be attending a business meeting out of state. She excused herself and hurried to the bathroom. With trembling hands, she called Michael. Hey, Olivia. I'm in a meeting right now. I'll call you back later. His voice was calm. In the background, she could hear the noise of a conference room. Where are you? She asked. In Boston. Like I told you. I'll be back tomorrow morning. Olivia hung up and stared at herself in the mirror. There was no lie in his voice. Yet David's colleague's words were clear. Michael had been at a hotel in Philadelphia. Confused, she took a deep breath to regain her composure. 2 weeks until the wedding. She couldn't cause problems that would ruin everything. The rehearsal dinner before the wedding was held at an upscale downtown restaurant. The Williams and Johnson family relatives gathered, creating a glamorous atmosphere. Olivia acted as the perfect hostess, attending to all guests. However, she noticed her parents giving Ashley special treatment. Barbara repeatedly approached her, quietly asking, "Are you all right?" Robert also placed his hand on his daughter's shoulder, seemingly offering words of encouragement. Michael appeared nervous, drinking several whiskeys. During his speech, his eyes wandered, seemingly avoiding looking directly at Olivia. Ashley wore a flashy dress, trying to attract everyone's attention. She gave Olivia a triumphant smile. There was something ominous hidden in her expression. "Tomorrow's the big day, sis," Ashley said in a sweet voice. "It will be a day you'll never forget. I promise." Olivia felt a chill for a moment. Deep in her heart, something was screaming that something was wrong. But she smiled and raised her champagne glass high. "Thank you, Ashley. I can't wait for tomorrow." That night, Olivia stood alone in her hotel room, gazing at the Philadelphia skyline through the window. Tomorrow, she would wear a white dress and make vows with the man she loved. Everything was supposed to go according to plan. The historic St. Joseph Church adjacent to the Philadelphia Museum of Art was bathed in spring light that day. Sunlight streaming through stained glass windows created rainbow patterns on the marble floor. Standing on the long red carpet, Olivia wore a wedding dress with beautiful lace trim, supported by her father Robert's arm. The solemn sound of the pipe organ echoed through the church, and all attendees stood up. Olivia took a deep breath and smiled. At the altar, Michael waited for her in a black tuxedo. His expression mixed tension and something else, guilt, perhaps. The ceremony proceeded solemnly, and the couple exchanged vows of love. Michael's voice trembled slightly, but Olivia perfectly played her role as the perfect bride. Her calmness came from years of experience as an event planner. No matter how turbulent her emotions might be inside, maintaining a perfect exterior, that was her creed. "Witness the bride and groom's first kiss," the pastor announced, and applause erupted throughout the church. The ballroom that served as the reception venue was decorated in white and gold. The soft light from chandeliers elegantly illuminated the space, with the scent of fresh flowers wafting through the air. An orchestra played live music, and waiters poured champagne. With the MC's voice, Olivia and Michael entered hand in hand, smiling. She gracefully nodded, while he nervously adjusted his tie. The banquet progressed smoothly, and soon it was time for toasts. The first speech began with David, Michael's best friend. "I've been friends with Michael since law school. He's sincere, brilliant, and..." As David continued his speech, Olivia noticed Ashley. Her sister sat restlessly in her chair, occasionally whispering something to Barbara. Her mother held her daughter's hand worriedly, while Robert watched them both with an anxious expression. And finally, to Olivia, David said, "You are the best partner for Michael. To your happy future." As the guests applauded grandly, Ashley suddenly stood up. With unsteady steps, she approached David and forcibly took the microphone from him. "Wait a minute. I have an important announcement." The venue fell silent as Ashley stood at center stage. She wore a flashy pink dress, with perfectly styled hair, but her eyes shone strangely. "Everyone, I'm sorry. But this is something I must say," she said, placing her hand on her stomach. "This child is the groom's." A murmur arose from the crowd. Olivia sat frozen, looking at Michael. His face had turned pale, and he slumped into his chair. "I'm the one who deserves to be the bride," Ashley continued. "Michael loves me. He only married Olivia out of obligation." The guests were shocked, looking at each other. Several guests stood up and began heading for the exit. "Ashley, stop it," Barbara cried, but her voice didn't sound sincere. Michael's mother stood up and asked in an angry, trembling voice, "What is the meaning of this?" Amid the growing confusion, Barbara and Robert stood by Ashley's side. "Everyone, please calm down," Robert said, raising his hands to quiet the venue. His face showed distress, but his voice maintained dignity. "There's an explanation for this situation," he said, but couldn't continue. Barbara stepped forward and turned to Olivia. Cold determination resided in her eyes. "Olivia, you need to give up. Ashley needs a family. She has always been a special child." Olivia stared at her parents in disbelief. They had always spoiled Ashley, but she hadn't expected this extent. Looking at Michael, she saw him hanging his head, staring at the floor. "I'm sorry," he mumbled. His voice was clearly audible in the silence of the venue. Olivia quietly stood up. All eyes in the venue were on her. No emotion could be read from her expression, it was a perfect poker face, like that of a professional player. "I see," she said quietly. "I've known about you two for 3 months." The blood drained from Michael and Ashley's faces. Olivia gracefully placed the bouquet she had been holding on the table. There was a strange calmness in her movements. As the air in the venue froze, she smiled slightly. "Actually, I prepared a special video as well," she said. Her voice was calm but conveyed inner strength. "This is my wedding gift." Olivia took out a remote control from her dress pocket and pressed a button. A large screen slowly descended from the venue's wall. The guests held their breath, and no one could speak. "Sam, who is also my business partner, is a former detective. I'm truly grateful for his investigative skills," Olivia said, pressing the remote control button again. As the screen brightened and the video began, the venue became completely silent. As if time had stopped, all people were frozen. Michael's face turned pale, and Ashley stood speechless with her mouth open. Barbara clung to her chair, and Robert stared blankly at the screen. The screen showed Michael and Ashley entering a hotel. In the lobby of the Ritz-Carlton in Philadelphia, they walked arm in arm affectionately toward the front desk. The footage came from a surveillance camera. The date and time were displayed in the corner of the screen. It was 3 months ago, a day when Michael was supposed to be in Boston for a business meeting. Shocked voices rose from the venue, and Michael's mother cried out, "Michael." The next scene showed the two entering an elevator. Ashley had her arms around Michael's neck, kissing him passionately. Michael had his hands around her waist, responding. "This is from 5 months ago," Olivia calmly explained. "The day when Michael said he would be late for our engagement party planning meeting." The footage continued, showing another date. Same hotel, different day. Then another hotel. Multiple locations, multiple dates. The two appeared in all the footage. "Evidence collected by my friend Sam, who has a career as a detective," Olivia said. "He did excellent work." But the footage didn't end there. Next, Ashley was shown intimately embracing another man, a young blonde man. The date was 2 weeks ago. "This is Jason Clark," Olivia said. "Ashley's ex-boyfriend." They've been in contact all along. The screen showed Ashley and Jason conversing intimately at a cafe, her entering his apartment, and the two passionately embracing. "And this is the final surprise," Olivia said, pressing the remote again. The screen displayed an image of medical records. Ashley Johnson's name and the date of pregnancy confirmation were clearly stated. And it was dated before her last tryst with Michael. "Congratulations, Ashley. You are indeed pregnant. But the father of the child is Jason," Olivia said quietly. "The appointment records and dates tell the whole story." Ashley turned pale and collapsed into a chair. "No, this is..." "And Michael, I have a lovely surprise for you too," Olivia continued. "You weren't satisfied with just being unfaithful with Ashley." The next footage showed Michael meeting another woman, a young colleague from his law firm. "Lauren Sanders, right?" Olivia asked. "You were having a relationship with her too." Michael tried to stand up but stumbled. "Olivia, listen to me. I worked as a detective for 10 years, Olivia said quietly, addressing the venue. "What I learned, people have multiple faces. And I'm good at detecting lies." The venue was completely silent. Barbara and Robert were stunned. Ashley was sobbing, and Michael was pale. Olivia took the stage and took the microphone. "I executed this wedding to reveal the truth." She took an envelope from her dress pocket. "Michael, this is my final gift," she said, placing the envelope in front of him. "Divorce papers already verified by a lawyer. You just need to sign." Michael was speechless, only staring at the envelope. Olivia turned to her parents. "Dad, Mom. You have always excused Ashley's lies and protected her. When she dropped out of college, when she lost jobs, you always defended her, saying everything she did had a reason." Olivia's voice was controlled despite her emotions, but had unwavering strength. "If that's what a family means, then I am no longer a member." Barbara began to cry, and Robert bowed his head. For the first time, they were confronted with the consequences of their actions. "Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming today," Olivia said calmly. "The reception will continue as planned. Please enjoy the delicious food and entertainment. I will take my leave now." She straightened her back and began to leave the venue with dignity. She could hear Ashley's crying screams behind her, but she didn't look back. "Olivia." Michael hurriedly chased after her. "Wait, let me explain." "Enough, Michael," Olivia said, looking straight into his eyes. "You betrayed me and had an affair with my sister. Not only that, you also had a relationship with another woman. There's nothing to explain." "I loved you, really," Michael pleaded. "The relationship with Ashley was a mistake." "How many times did you repeat that a mistake?" Olivia asked. "It's over. Don't ever show yourself in my life again." Olivia's best friend Sarah and several true friends stood up to follow her. "We're leaving too," Sarah said, placing her hand on Olivia's arm. In the venue they left behind, Michael, Ashley, and her parents hung their heads in shame, at a loss for words. The guests watched Olivia leave with eyes mixed with anger and sympathy, and many people followed her out of the venue. Barbara tried to chase after her daughter, but Robert grabbed her arm. "Better not go now," he said in a low voice. "We hurt her." Ashley continued crying, collapsed on the table. Her plan had completely backfired, and her own lies had been exposed. Michael stood dazed, watching his life crumble before his eyes. When Olivia exited the hotel, she took a deep breath. The soft May breeze caressed her cheeks. Her long wedding dress swayed in the breeze. "Are you really okay?" Sarah asked worriedly. "Yes," Olivia smiled slightly. "I actually feel liberated. What I've been planning for a long time has finally ended." She looked back at the luxurious hotel. The reception had completely collapsed, ending just as Olivia had planned. From the balcony of a high-rise condominium in Miami, Olivia gazed at the shimmering sea. 3 months had passed since the wedding, and she had completely cut ties with her life in Philadelphia. Her event planning company, True Celebration, was receiving enthusiastic support from the elite of South Florida. While drinking her morning coffee, she opened a package that had just arrived. Official documents from a famous Philadelphia law firm, papers informing her that the divorce was finally finalized. Inside the envelope was also a short handwritten letter from Michael. Olivia, I sincerely apologize for the wrongs I committed against you. You were the best woman, and I ruined that. I hope someday you will forgive me. After reading the letter, Olivia quietly dropped it into the sea. She watched as the wind carried the paper far away. Around the same time in Philadelphia, Ashley was leaving a medical clinic. Cradling her now larger belly, she headed toward her parents' house with heavy steps. The DNA test results were clear: the baby's father was Jason. Jason acknowledged his responsibility and agreed to pay child support, but he didn't wish to continue the relationship with Ashley. Barbara and Robert promised to help with the grandchild's care, but their expressions were etched with fatigue and disappointment. Because of Ashley's lies and actions, their reputation in society had plummeted. Invitations from former friends had ceased, and phones no longer rang. Michael was also paying a price. He had lost his partnership position at the law firm and had moved to a small-town office in Tennessee to avoid the scandal. His glamorous career had crumbled overnight. Before Christmas, Olivia was arranging a charity event in Miami. Suddenly, familiar figures appeared at the entrance of the venue: Barbara and Robert. At first there was an awkward silence, but Barbara summoned the courage to speak. Olivia, it's been a while, her voice trembled. May we talk? Seated in the cafeteria, Barbara took a deep breath. You were right. We spoiled Ashley too much and ended up hurting her. Robert also nodded. I want to apologize for ignoring your feelings all these years. We were wrong. Olivia stared at her parents. They had aged, now appearing weak. Why are you here? We wanted to see you, Barbara said. Ashley is receiving counseling now. She's trying to face her own issues. And so are we. Olivia didn't answer immediately. Wounds remained in her heart. But the color of regret reflected in her parents' eyes seemed genuine. I need time, she finally said. But let's stay in touch. A year later, Olivia was hosting a nationally recognized seminar series, Finding Truth: How to Protect Yourself. She used her own experience to teach other women how to recognize danger signals in relationships and protect their self-worth. True family is not just about blood ties, but relationships that respect each other and value truth, she spoke holding a microphone. Truth sometimes brings pain, but it's the first step toward growth. Among the audience were Barbara and Robert. They nodded quietly at their daughter's words. Rebuilding the relationship was taking time, but progressing bit by bit. Ashley was raising her child at her parents' home, trying to change herself. After the seminar, a young woman approached Olivia. Your courage changed my life, she said tearfully. It gave me the strength to stand up when I was in a similar situation. Olivia smiled and held her hand. Knowing your own worth is the most important thing. In the Miami twilight, Olivia left her office and walked along the coast. Her cell phone rang, a contact from a new client. Life goes on. And she was moving forward with her own truth.